Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Allotment Chronicles episode 3. I'm just showing you quick snapshots of what the compost bays look like because I didn't actually film it, and then we're going to get into the video. But before I do, I just want to preface by saying I was coming off the back of a cold whilst filming this next shot, and I sound very croaky. So apologies for that. Coming up, we've got compost bays, we've got raised beds, and building new walkways. And we've also got a section at the end of interesting artefacts I've found whilst digging up some of the soil. So let's get into the video.
So if you remember, all this was this tall with stinging nettles. And there's loads of stinging nettles here as well. So I've moved all the dirt from there into there, just for the time being. Got my compost bays, been collecting pallets. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to sift through that, put that in there, and then we're going to tackle that bit, because underneath that dirt is carpet, and then underneath that carpet is a whole host of stinging nettle roots, which are just ridiculous to pull up. So that's been the progress on the compost bay. And then from the compost bay, my plan is to have the path going all the way along, but it's quite wide at the moment, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a raised bed the length of this fence all the way to the compost bay, with just flowers in, like for bees and pollinators and stuff. And then you'll see there, that's probably going to be the width of the path just to come down here. So we're moving everything over. So I'll come and show you my raised bed that I made. So this will be the width of the path, and as you can see, I pulled back the tarp and there's wood chip already there, which means this was already a path in the past and it's just got covered up. Put this in yesterday because it was all muddy. So yeah, all I've been doing is cutting bits of wood up a foot long, putting a point in them, and then literally measuring like 80 centimetres across, just so it stays the same width all the way along the fence, because as you can see the fence is leaning, so it's not very straight. And then I'm just going to continue all the way along, just have one continuous big bed, and then when I'm digging up the path to get all the mare's tail out, all the dirt's just going to go into there and fill it. And that's my idea. Just realised as well, I've done it again. I've been filming in portrait. I must remember to film in landscape. But I feel like I come down and I just got like so many different ideas that I just want to execute them all at the same time. And so I've got about 4 or 5 different projects on the go at the moment, with none of them completed. But every time I come down here, I'm making progress, and it's visible progress, so I'm happy. I can't complain. Also, I did mention in a previous video that I was getting some stuff from Temu, and I was waiting for them to come, because my gloves got nicked, I think, or I've just lost them. I think I might have lost them. And I got some gloves, and the proper waterproof gloves. I think for like holding chemicals, but I'm sick to death of my hands getting wet, and because we're going into winter now, I've got about 5 pairs, so I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm going to be rocking my blue gloves.
Here I'm just creating a few more of those stakes that I mentioned earlier with the points on the end, ready for the continuation of my raised bed along the fence. So this rusty frame was actually already on my plot when I inherited it, and it's actually come in so handy, you know. I've literally used it every time I've been down.
It's so funny because I think if I've ever had this plot last, obviously I had kids and brought them down a lot because there's been loads of kids' toys everywhere. But I found this crayon and it's actually coming in really handy for marking my wood to cut. So I'm pretty happy I found that. Trying to think of how to get the best angle for you. Now I've just got to make them points. Here's one I made earlier. Honestly, I've ended up with so many cuts and stuff since starting this. Since getting this allotment. I feel like every time I go home with a new cut or graze or something. Exhibit A. Another 3 more to go. Don't get your drill bits from Lidl. I'm only drilling a bit of wood.
Here, as you can see, I've made a bit more progress along the fence there, putting in a few more stakes and a few more boards. And here is really where them blue gloves come into their own, because they've got the latex on the top of your hand. When you're sifting through the soil to get all the mare's tail roots out, my hands stay dry, whereas when I was wearing my old orange gloves, the top of the gloves were always covered in mud, soaking wet through, and my hands got actually pretty cold, to be fair. So in terms of a Temu purchase, I'm actually pretty happy with that. And whilst we're on the topic of Temu, yes, that is a wheelbarrow off Temu, as an early Christmas present off my mum and dad. So thanks mum and dad for that, much appreciated. Here I'm just filling up the raised bed outside of my shed, and I actually started sieving it through a sieve that I'd made at home with some pallet wood, but it just wasn't working at all. So I thought if I just throw the soil into my wheelbarrow, I'll be able to pick out any roots myself and pick out any clumps of soil or anything like that I dig up. It's flag laying time, because that path was an absolute mud bath when it rained. And now that we're heading into winter, I don't fancy that, so the sooner I can flag it, the better. So the wheelbarrow is slightly out of shot, but you can just see how many roots I'm pulling up here, and it was all mare's tail. There was a few dandelions in there, and there's also these little bulbs. I don't know if you can see them in the bottom right of the wheelbarrow there, but I have no idea what they were, but there was hundreds of them. Now I do realise I have been a bit all over the place with this video, but I'm literally just showing you the footage in the order of what I did it in over the course of a week or two. So the next clip is actually going back to the compost bays, because as I say, project after project I'm just going back into between different ones because I've got so many on the go. I have been down a few times without filming just to break down a couple of pallets, just in case you're wondering where I'm getting this wood from. But I didn't film it because I didn't think it'd be really interesting. You're just watching me break up pallets with a crowbar, to be honest with you. Now I've left this in just so you can have a little bit of a chuckle at me, because I had all these pieces of wood that I wanted to fit in these gaps and none of them fit in. And I was scratching my head thinking, how am I going to do this? But luckily this one at the top actually did fit in. I just needed to get the crowbar to take a nail out, and then it does fit in nice and snug, and you'll see that in a moment when I'm bashing it in with my hand. Boom, fits like a glove. Attempt number 1. Attempt number 2. And I just gave up in the end and ended up sawing them down so they fit, and I actually ran out of screws. So on this last piece of wood, I am just nailing it in. So the sooner I get that soil in there, the better, because I only moved it here a couple of days ago and you can see all the weeds growing in it already. So I think if I get that in there, and then I can tackle all what's underneath here then. I filled all the gaps that I could, apart from this one.
I did this a couple of days ago, about over a week ago now actually, and this one, because I hadn't broken down any pallets, but as you can see I've just broken some down and there's no gaps. So for this side I'm just going to have to put some cardboard when I'm piling it up, cardboard on the inside, and then the wood won't rot. But I mean, it's an old pallet anyway, so it probably needs replacing soon anyway. But I just need to get a compost bay going so I can put some stuff somewhere, because it's getting a bit ridiculous now. I've just got loads and loads of bags over there, I can't zoom in. And then I need to do the same on this side with some wood, same as what I've done there. And then again, I'll just put some cardboard on the inside, put another pallet here, and then that'll be 2 bays then completed. As you can see, I've made a start on this side of the pallet. I screwed a vertical piece of wood to the blocks on the pallet, and then I'm just going horizontal now from top to bottom, making sure that that side's full as well. I just thought I'd share, just in case people didn't know, that if you've not got a square, you can actually use your saw. So there's a 90 degree there and a 45 degree angle there. So actually, you just line up your line with, there it is. So if you wanted to just draw a straight line and you've not got your square with you, you can line it up like that and draw a line straight down, like so. And you can see there, my green line is where I'm going to cut.
And we're back to the pathway. So I've just got this last little bit of green now to clear from the existing pathway that was already there. I did start pulling up just little bits of grass and stuff, but then I found out that the tarp was just ripping, so I decided to just rip it all up in one go and bundle it all into one bag and just move it out of the way. So this is the second drill bit now I've gone through. It's snapped off in my drill. The other one was bent, and this one has snapped off completely. The last one of the size I want. So I've just been moving all the rubbish and the bags, ferrying it back into. Check out the size of this worm. Cannot believe it. And then there's another one here. And this just shows also why I'm putting so much effort into digging up all the mare's tail roots, because this bag has probably been here 2 weeks, and this whole patio was cleared on one of my first visits. So you can see all the dandelions growing back already. So I've just not been able to get the taproot because obviously it's flags. But that just shows how prolific the mare's tail is. You can see another one coming through here. But I literally can't get to the taproot or the root that. Check out how fast that worm's going. Crazy. But I think this is trip number 5, maybe 6. One more bag to go, but I don't think I'm gonna get it in that wheelbarrow over there. That looks pretty full to me. So, gotta come back again. So I do actually feel like the plot is finally starting to come together. I mean, not in the grand scheme of things, but the bit that I've wanted to focus on the most is this bed along the side here. So, got a bed here, and then the bed along the side. That's gonna go all the way down to the compost bays, and this is gonna go all the way as well. It was a wood chip path, but I've just weed membraned it, and then I'm gonna put some wood chip over the top, I think. Just because the mare's tail is so prolific here. It's crazy. But I've dug all through this, got bags and bags of roots, and made it up to here. So still got that to go. But I thought it took me so long to dig all this up and get the mare's tail out. I thought the thought of having to do that for the pathway as well, I may as well just cover it. I know plastic isn't the best, but I'm making do with what I've got, and like I say, I want to put wood chip over the top. So, but this soil is incredible. A couple of my plot neighbours came over before and was like, "Have you bought that?" I said, "No, I've just dug it up." And he's like, "Oh my god, it looks amazing, so fluffy." As I've been digging stuff up, I've found some pretty cool things, to be fair. So I found this almost full glass bottle, and I've managed to scrub it a little bit, and it says in embossed letters, Manchester E. Walsh. So I'm going to go home and Google that to see what kind of company it was and where this bottle's probably come from. And I found so much crockery, but this was the biggest piece I found. It's got a lovely little pattern on of some houses, I think. Another little bit of crockery. This was the only one I found with words on. Himself must either hold. That's all I've got across the top there. And I only know what this is because I watch somebody on YouTube and Facebook who goes to the River Thames when the tide's out and does a little bit of digging to find random things. So I was finding all these little bits of white tubing. For some reason I just thought it was like a really old cigarette or something. And then I came across this, and it's an old pipe. How cool is that? So I'm going to take it home and wash it off, but it used to be the tube of the pipe. And like I said, I only know that because there's a woman on Instagram or Facebook or whatever who goes to the Thames and digs these up, and sometimes, like, there's been one where she's found it like in all in one piece, and it's like this long. So yeah, pretty cool, isn't it? So I just wanted to close the video out really properly with a nice cup of tea, and just to say thank you to Mal from the Veg Plot Man for giving me a shout out on his video. That was a nice surprise. I was just lay on the couch watching, as a YouTube content consumer is the word, consumer, and yeah, he mentioned my channel and I was like, hey, that's me. So thank you, Mal, for that, much appreciated. I did get a few subscribers from that, and I know it's not all about numbers, but as a new YouTube channel, I'll take what I can get, so much appreciated for that. And just special thanks out to Downsworth from Jim, Ali from the Rusty Garden, and Danny from Grow Up, because they've been very nice to me in the comments. So it's just nice to know that, you know, we've got a nice community on YouTube who's very supportive and very helpful. And you probably don't all realise how much you've helped me over the last 2 years anyway, just absorbing your content, ready for when I've got my allotment, which I'm at right now. So thank you very much. Hello to all the new subscribers, I'm Chris, and keep an eye out for my next video. Peace.